Hello, I'm Dane, and this is Dane Explains. Are you a parent? Or a teacher? Or have you ever been a kid? If you are, or ever have been any of these things,
What?
you're probably familiar with the question, why is the sky blue? It's one of those dumb questions that kids ask that people seldom have an answer for. Well, what is the answer? Could a kid understand it? Let me explain. I think almost every adult who has been around children long enough has gotten the question, why is the sky blue? Although most people have no clue why, they don't feel bad for the kid since, after all, they probably asked the same question when they were a kid. I can't remember the first time I asked the question, but I was really curious about it. So, not only did I ask my parents, separately and together, but several of my teachers at school. None could give a good answer. Although asking my fourth grade teacher the question got the whole class in a big discussion, because the teacher wanted all the students to submit their theories. It was probably just an excuse so she didn't have to answer the question, but the best theory turned out to be mine, and it was maybe that since the ocean is blue, and the earth is mostly covered in ocean, the blue is somehow reflected or scattered back from the color of the ocean. That answer was onto something, but no, later I learned it was wrong. Ironically, the person who was supposed to be my teacher the next year was the teacher everyone knew was the nerdy science teacher of the school. No doubt he'd have the right answer, right? Well, I never got to ask it because my parents started to homeschool me starting that next year. My answer didn't have long to wait though, because this was around the time the internet was starting to dawn. If I recall correctly, I found the answer on a NASA website. Not looking for why the sky is blue, but why Mars' sky is red. Mars' sky is red for similar reasons to why most of the things we have around us have a color. Most objects with a color have a color because the ambient white light actually contains all the colors in the rainbow. It hits the object and the color parts absorb certain wavelengths, which are colors of light, leaving only some of the colors to get reflected back. The colors that get reflected back are the colors we see. For instance, tree leaves are green because the leaves absorb the blue and red wavelengths of light, reflecting just the green. Actually, if you look at another video I did just last fall, you'll know that there's actually a little bit of red in there too, and that's why tree leaves turn red in the fall. Mars' atmosphere is red because the soil contains fine red rust particles which get kicked up by the winds. Once it gets into the atmosphere, the fine dust particles absorb all but the colors on the red end of the spectrum, leaving the atmosphere with a reddish color. This is not why our sky is blue, even though, as I pointed out earlier, water is blue. When water gets into our atmosphere, it scatters all the wavelengths of light, much more effectively than it absorbs the red and the green spectrum. That's why clouds appear white instead of blue. It's not just that the cloud has a noticeable color, it's that the shape of the water droplets floating in the air cause the light to get scattered in all directions, and some get scattered back into our eyes. So the clouds end up appearing whatever the color of the light it scattered was. This is where we're starting to get close to why the sky is blue. Water droplets scatter light because they are like tiny balls of glass. When photons of light hit these balls, they get sent off at a different angle, where they hit another droplet, and so on, until they exit the cloud in a completely random direction. Dry air molecules also scatter light, but much more weakly than water droplets, because they're so tiny. So tiny, in fact, that they are smaller than the wavelength of the light hitting them. The wavelengths of light get shorter the further into the blue side of the spectrum the light gets. If you imagine light like motor vehicles, red light would be the large trucks, and blue light would be like the small cars. If the road is the sky and the air molecules are like potholes, a pothole is going to have a bigger effect on changing the direction of a small vehicle than a larger one. So blue light gets scattered more often than red light by the air, causing blue wavelengths to get scattered towards the ground and into our eyes more often than red light. So to us, the sky appears blue. There's more to it than that though, because the sky only looks blue to us because we can't see the color it actually is, which some animals can see, like many birds, who are blessed with the ability to see beyond blue. They can see ultraviolet, which we can only see as a narrow purple sliver at the edge of the blue spectrum. Some animals, like some birds and insects, can see ultraviolet because it's used by plants, especially flowers, to get their attention. Ultraviolet wavelengths are more like motorcycles on the road and get disrupted by potholes even easier than blue light. So for the animals that can see that part of the spectrum, the sky appears ultraviolet, not blue. As a follow-on to that, you may wonder why the sky appears red at sunset and not just a deeper blue. This is due to the sun being low on the horizon. So, the light has to travel a long distance through the atmosphere. The further the light has to travel horizontally between the ground and space, the more likely it is to get scattered. Since the atmosphere isn't isolated, it's just a thin blanket with the space above it and the earth below it, the shorter or bluer the wavelength of light is, the more likely it is to get scattered into space and get lost, or into the ground and get absorbed. So only the red colors are able to reach your eyes as more and more of the shorter wavelengths get scattered away into space or into the ground. So the next time a kid asks why the sky is blue, you can answer the question. Not only why the sky is blue, but surprise the kid with why the sunsets are red. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, please press the like button. Subscribe to my channel and ding the bell to get notified when I post new videos. Also, please support me on Patreon, link in the description. The more people support me, the more time I can dedicate to making videos like this one. So, until next time, have a great week.